Born Before 64 is a TV show that asks the vital question, what will we do for the rest of our lives? Kathryn Raaker hosts a show for baby boomers and above, inviting real people to tell real stories about overcoming issues, about facing with courage and triumph the significant obstacles many of us face every day. Born Before 64 TV shows will cover topics that this generation is interested in. So let's join Kathryn Raaker for Born Before 64.
Hi, this is Kathryn Raaker of Born Before 64, and I'm with my expert friend, Gerald Blumenthal, who is an author, entrepreneur, writing analysis, carpenter, business owner. There's so many things. I can't even believe it. Welcome back, Jerry.
Thank you so much, Kathryn.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
And we're on location in Houston, Texas. And I'm so excited because, you know, we have spoken with each other back and forth we've known each other now for how many years, Jerry?
Must be 4 or 5 years. Yes.
4 or 5 years. And you came out with your first book, The Brass Compass. And that was published when, Jerry?
Not 2010.
2010. And I'll never forget reading it, and I couldn't put it down. Absolutely. And I called you up, and I said, I want you on my show. And you came, and then you came and you did a TV show with me.
I certainly did.
And that was tremendous. That's still up on our site, by the way. We have that. And people absolutely love that show. Tell us a little bit about The Brass Compass and why and how you wrote it.
The idea of The Brass Compass actually started in 1978. It was just before I immigrated from South Africa. And one of the topics of conversation in the newspapers in South Africa at that time was about Joseph Mengele, the angel of death, who did a lot of experimentation on Holocaust inmates. And one of my cousins at this farewell dinner said, you know, even if they found Mengele, they would never recognize him because he had probably had plastic surgery. And my aunt walked in, and she was a Holocaust survivor, had never spoken about it before, and she said, I will recognize him. I will never forget those eyes. And she walked out of the room. That was the only time and the first time that she ever spoke about it. But it started my interest in Holocaust survivors. And many, many years later, I met a survivor who happened to work in the same building as me. And every lunchtime, he would come and talk to me and tell me stories. And he, like myself, was a great storyteller, not all factual, but it was wonderful literature for me to make notes about and to create this book, The Brass Compass.
How long did it take you to actually physically write it?
6 years. And it's interesting, I met Neil Simon once, and I actually was becoming very frustrated that it was taking me so long to write this book. And I said to Mr. Simon, how long does it take you to write a book? And he said, I don't write books. And I said, what? He said, I rewrite books. And then I understood, because that is actually what happens when you write a book. You keep rewriting and rewriting until it looks right, until it feels right.
And you then don't you have readers that read your books before you, that are editors as well as readers, to tell you their opinions of the book, correct?
Correct.
Is your wife one of those readers?
Yes, very critical reader.
Right.
In retrospect, she's always right. At the time, she wasn't.
Oh, okay. But she was an educator, too, isn't she?
Oh, yes.
So that, you know, it's funny. Educators are tough people.
Yes. Well,
right?
she was very honest with me, and the first time I showed her the first 10 pages, she just shook her head and said, it's not going to work.
So what did you do?
I changed it.
So that's why it took 6 years?
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly right. Can you tell us a little bit about the story, and can you still buy the book?
You can still buy the book. The story actually starts about a Holocaust survivor who survives a 400-mile forced march from Romania into the Ukraine. And he's forced marched with his parents. They eventually escaped because of the help of a Ukrainian farmer who was very kind to them. Mm-hmm. He actually hid them underground in a hole that he had dug into the ground. And he eventually, when the war was coming to an end, he was very sad to see them leave. Mm-hmm. And he handed a brass compass to the father mm-hmm. of the survivor. And he said, "This is so you can find your way back to the West." And that brass compass became the icon of the book. Mm-hmm. Because when he eventually gets back to the West, he becomes a famous rocket scientist. And he comes into contact with a Canadian engineer, also a rocket scientist, who was manufacturing a very large supergun for Saddam Hussein. And that part is absolutely correct. Saddam Hussein had hired this person to make this gun, and he, the actual guy making the gun was very, he didn't mind who he made the gun for. He didn't mind that the gun was being made to destroy Israel. He just wanted this gun made. And,
money, greed?
Money, greed. And also, you know, that's what his life was, making guns. And the reason that I know so much about him is because he came to South Africa to manufacture guns for the South African government. At that time, South Africa was isolated because of its apartheid rules, and so they couldn't buy guns. So they hired this guy
to make
the guns there.
Did you get to meet him?
Yes, I did.
And how was that?
Well, we were both in the same industry. I don't want to go any further because a lot of that stuff was done in secret. And cut a long story short, this engineer was actually assassinated. The original report said that he died of a single shotgun to the head, and it was self-inflicted, but there were 6 gunshots, so I doubt very much that it was self-inflicted.
6. But, yeah, that would be a little tough.
Yes, so that's actually the basis of the story, how this young man...
Who do you think assassinated him?
Well, either one of two people, either the Iraqis, because they're upset that he didn't finish the gun, mm-hmm. or the Israeli Mossad. Nobody knows.
Mm-hmm. And that, to me, is a mystery in itself, isn't it?
Well, the gun is so factual that components of the gun were being manufactured in England, ostensibly made into irrigation pipes. Large tubes, 1 meter in diameter, 500 feet long.
So where did they find them?
Well, they were being shipped out from England to Iraq, mm-hmm. and somebody tipped them off, obviously, and the British government, they stopped them, and they took possession of the... And the pictures of the gun components are in the book.
Oh, wow.
They're in British museums today.
Today.
And, of course, it comes back to the question, was Saddam Hussein preparing weapons of mass destruction?
Yes,
and he was. No question about it.
Right. So let me ask this question. And on that note, before this question, the next question will be for the next segment, I want you to tell us, and if you would be so kind, to tell us about your second book, The Monkey Trial, Judgment Day. Would you do that?
I absolutely will.
And on that note, we'll be right back with Gerald Blumenthal. He's an actor as well, and a writer, author, businessman, and entrepreneur. We'll be right back.
Not so sure about the actor part.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back on Born Before 64 after these messages.